In my opinion, if we're going to be honest and judge players based on how they play, there's a new number 1 overall pick. There is.
Let's be real. If we're going to judge players based on their current play, there's a new number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft. Caitlin Clark has earned it. Remember when Geno Auriemma passed on her for UConn, all those years ago, and then doubled down by doubting her skills as she entered the WNBA? Well, it looks like Geno is eating his words, and those decisions are backfiring in the worst possible way.
Auriemma, Caitlin Clark, again, the world turns. It's Caitlin Clark's world. We just live on planet Cable.
Way. Clark isn't just breaking records, she's shattering them. Time Athlete of the Year? Check. Associated Press Athlete of the Year? Double check. Geno, take notes. The world has turned, and now it's Caitlin Clark's world. We're just living on it. Meanwhile, Geno's golden girl, Paige Bueckers, is struggling to keep up. Once
that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's 3rd or 4th in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
In the 2025 draft, she's not even the best player in college basketball anymore. It's starting to look like Geno's genius decision might cost him the next big thing in women's hoops. And you know what? I'm sure Geno's delusional fan base is feeling the sting now, especially after all the hype surrounding Bueckers. There were even betting odds on Bueckers becoming an MVP in the WNBA, but let's be honest, it's getting harder to justify that kind of talk. Fans that disrespected the WNBA, claiming she would go in and tear it apart? It's all starting to sound foolish.
She's more of just a distributor, get the ball, her game is more like Sue Bird's game. All right? And not that Sue had the physicality to play in that league, but obviously she's the best point guard ever. But I think her game, the subtleties of her game.
Start. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Remember when Geno Auriemma, the so-called basketball genius, passed on Caitlin Clark? I mean, how does that even happen? It's like looking at a diamond and saying, nah, I'll stick with these rocks instead. Was it arrogance? Poor judgment? Maybe he woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day? Whatever the reason, it's coming back to haunt him, and it's not pretty. Clark's game is different. It's more like a distributor.
Geno, baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is
a modern, explosive twist. Her subtlety, her vision on the court, her ability to make everyone around her better? It's all there. And as we're seeing now, her game is translating perfectly. Meanwhile, Geno was too busy polishing his past trophies to see what others saw, a once-in-a-generation talent who could change the game forever. Caitlin Clark's high school stats were ridiculous, off the charts. Video game numbers. But Geno? He didn't take notice. It's like he was too focused on past glory to see the future unfolding right in front of him. If Caitlin Clark's on a team, it becomes the right team. That's how much of an impact she has.
By who she was when she was 19 years old and not judging 23-year-old Paige Bueckers. Because 23-year-old Paige Bueckers is not as good as 21-year-old Olivia Moss. And I mean that.
On the right team. The right team is whatever team he's on. Instead, Geno went all in on Paige Bueckers. The sure thing. The can't-miss prospect. He thought he had the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory, but guess what? That ticket might have been a dud. Now, here's the cold hard truth. Clark is the talk of the town, the belle of the basketball ball. She's winning awards left and right, Time Athlete of the Year, SBJ Sports Person of the Year, Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year, and Bueckers? We'll get to that later. Let's just say, she's not exactly living up to the hype.
Stupid fans. Diana said it best. Ooh boy. Diana said it best. I would like to point out that Diana Taurasi, 6-time gold medalist now, because she dragged her 42-year-old aging bones over to Paris and got an extra gold medal while Caitlin Clark was sitting at home watching, presumably. Caitlin Clark's rookie year numbers are better than the sainted, the goated Diana Taurasi. Caitlin Clark's having a better rookie year than she had. Miss Reality Check herself.
Bueckers by who she was when she was 19 years old? The reality is, 23-year-old Bueckers isn't as good as 21-year-old Olivia Miles, and I mean that. I really do. But wait, it gets juicier. Geno didn't just pass on Clark. He went out of his way to criticize her. He said her game wouldn't translate well to the collegiate level. He even went as far as calling her fans delusional for their expectations. Ouch. Talk about digging your own grave. Let's talk about the reality check.
I don't care how good Paige Bueckers was in high school. I really don't. Like, I'm hearing people mentioning Paige being the National Player of the Year as a freshman, as why to draft her 4 years later. I don't care.
His decision to prioritize Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark is coming back to bite him, and now, with Clark's success, it's probably keeping him up at night. Imagine this, you aim for the basket, but instead, you hit the popcorn vendor. Ouch.
She's having a good season so far. I don't think it's her greatest performance or her greatest season so far, and she's struggled in a couple of these.
Geno's mistakes are piling up, and there's no ignoring it now. Diana Taurasi, the legend herself, said it best. She went to Paris and bagged another gold medal at 42 years old while Caitlin Clark was at home watching. Meanwhile, Clark's rookie numbers are already surpassing Taurasi's first-year stats. She's got a better start than the GOAT herself. Pride comes before the fall, and Geno's pride is falling harder than the records Clark is smashing.
Iowa beat them in the Final Four last season. South Carolina has been on a tear. We have LSU. Tennessee is back in the mix. We have Notre Dame coming up. Like, we have TCU. We have Duke. I'm going to call out the two teams that Auriemma and Aaliyah are on. There are these great programs who are taking a new age style of basketball when it comes to coaching, when it comes to system, and it comes to how you're letting your players play, that maybe Geno does need to.
So. With Clark's meteoric rise, Geno's decision to pass on her is looking like one of the biggest coaching blunders in recent history. Now, let's address why Paige Bueckers is struggling. I don't care how good she was in high school. People keep mentioning her as the National Player of the Year and the automatic #1 pick, but that was years ago. We're living in the now, and Bueckers' performance this season isn't as stellar as everyone anticipated. Sure, she's still putting up solid numbers, but her stats in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks have all gone down compared to last year. Some of her numbers are even worse than her freshman year. This isn't the same all-around player we saw in high school. Let's be honest, the competition is fiercer than ever. Iowa took down UConn in the Final Four last season. South Carolina is still dominating. LSU, Tennessee, Notre Dame, they're all in the mix, and they're playing a new era of basketball with
the UConn Huskies front and center this season in women's basketball. Some fans are starting to question Geno Auriemma's coaching style and wondering if it's truly what's best for Paige.
Maybe it's time for Geno to adapt. But the real question is, why is Bueckers underperforming in big games? Remember her 11-point snoozer against Holy Cross? Or how about the 8-point performance against Louisville? The 11-point loss to Notre Dame? It was like watching a Titanic-sized disaster unfold. And now, fans are throwing a
said, well, Paige just likes to stand around. She's not really aggressive and she's not going to go after the ball. So that's just what Paige likes to do. He kind of threw her under the bus. And a lot of fans are starting to notice that Geno says a lot of things to the media about his team, about his players that are starting to rub certain people the wrong
stings, but can you blame them? When you go from being the College Player of the Year to barely making an impact in crucial games, people will talk. But let's dig deeper. Is it just Bueckers? Or is Geno's system the real issue? Some experts think Geno's old-school coaching style is holding Bueckers back more than a pair of cement shoes. While Bueckers is shooting an impressive 56% from the field, it's clear she's prioritizing efficiency over aggression.
The reason why Paige Bueckers is seen as a formality, the #1 overall pick, was because she was the best player in the world, her age, in the world when she was 18. Because she was better than Caitlin Clark 4 years ago. Well, I'm sorry, like, Andrew Wiggins was better than Nikola Jokic when they were 18 years old. What difference does that make? What difference does that make now? Like, I can guarantee you when Michael Jordan was 16 years old, he was cut from his high school team. Like, you don't judge players based on how good they were in a past.
Sometimes, you've got to take risks to make things happen, but it feels like Bueckers is playing it safe, quiet and efficient, but not exactly lighting the court on fire. And here's a wild thought, could Bueckers be deliberately underperforming to avoid getting drafted by the Dallas Wings? Talk about a plot twist, right? It's like a soap opera, but with more basketball and less dramatic music. Here's the reality: Caitlin Clark is rising faster than a rocket ship, while Bueckers is fading
front and center
quickly.
in the women's
It's like
basketball media landscape. There is so much hype around her, and a lot of people have a microscope on her and the UConn Huskies. A lot of people are expecting Paige to win her first national title this year with UConn before she does declare for the
watching a race where one runner is sprinting for the finish line and the other is jogging backward. Remember when Bueckers was considered the clear #1 pick? That was when she was 18. But, just like in any sport, past performances don't always dictate future success. Look at Andrew Wiggins, better at 18 than he is now. The real question is, can Paige Bueckers turn it around, or is this the start of a long, slow fade into basketball obscurity?
Don't see any reason why Olivia Miles should not be #1 overall pick right now. She's 2.5 years younger than Paige. She is 5'10" point guard. She's what, an inch shorter than Paige Bueckers. She is a better point guard. She's just coming off the back of 2 consecutive triple doubles for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame are better than UConn.
Needs to step up her game, fast. In the world of women's basketball, you're only as good as your last performance, and right now, her last game isn't exactly something to write home about. And don't even start with the efficiency talk. Miles shoots 55% from the field. They both shoot about the same from 3, but Miles? She's hitting 40-something% from beyond the arc. And she's making it look easy. Let's not forget this: Miles became the first collegiate women's basketball player to record back-to-back triple-doubles this season. That's not just impressive, that's video game.
It doesn't matter who the higher recruits were, who was better. At this point in time, Olivia Miles is a better player. And especially, you might be saying, oh, but like efficiency. Olivia Miles shoots 55% from the field. They shoot the same percentage from the field. From 3, what? Olivia Miles shoots 40-something% from 3. Paige
Player to do that. None other than Caitlin Clark. So yeah, WNBA scouts are definitely taking notice, and they're loving what they see from Miles. One analyst went all in, calling her the best player in this college draft class. That's not just hype, that's straight up love for her game. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Olivia Miles is a better passer, a better floor general, and a smarter decision maker. You might argue that Paige Bueckers is efficient, but if that efficiency comes from playing it safe and only shooting open shots, is it really that impressive? When your efficiency comes at the expense of aggression, it doesn't count. Miles might be a better fit for the modern WNBA. One analyst even dropped this truth bomb: Olivia Miles is the better point guard. After 2 consecutive triple-doubles,
Olivia Miles is a better passer. Olivia Miles runs the show better. Olivia Miles is a better decision maker. And you might be saying, oh, but like Paige Bueckers' efficiency and all this. If your efficiency comes from passiveness, then it is fake efficiency. Anyone can be efficient only shooting catch and shoot open shots and layups and like easy pull-ups. Anyone, when your efficiency comes at the expense of aggression, it doesn't.
That. And here's the real kicker: if Miles goes #1 overall, it's not just a loss for Bueckers, it's a blow to Geno Auriemma's ego. Imagine thinking you've got the next big thing, only to watch someone else steal the spotlight. That's got to sting. We don't know why people are still acting like it's a done deal that Bueckers will go #1. She's been outplayed by Miles this season. Drafting based on who's the best right now, it's clear that Miles is the better player and the better point guard. And if you don't
understand why it's just an automatic given she's the #1 overall pick. She's not been the best player in college, and she is not the best player that's available in this draft. She has been outplayed by Olivia Miles this season. You draft based on who is going to be the best at this point in time. And not only do I believe that Olivia Miles is a better basketball player than Paige Bueckers right now, she's also a much better point guard. I think even if you're trying to argue and Paige Bueckers is better, Olivia Miles is a better point guard, and I think that's very difficult to argue against that point. I think it's very difficult to say that Olivia Miles or Paige Bueckers is better at the point guard position than Olivia Miles, which is why the Dallas
to come up with a solid argument, because it's hard to deny. This is why the Dallas Wings should be ready to play Miles, and fast. The real question is this the changing of the guard in women's college basketball? Are we witnessing a shift in power? One thing's for sure, if Miles keeps this up, she could easily surpass Bueckers as the top pick in the draft. And that's not just speculation, that's coming straight from the experts. This shakeup isn't just about Miles and Bueckers, it's sending shockwaves across the entire world of women's basketball. UConn might need to rethink its recruiting strategy if Bueckers doesn't snag that top spot. It's like the basketball gods flipped the script, and now everyone's scrambling to catch up. Is Olivia Miles the new number one? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, she's making waves, turning heads, and giving Paige Bueckers a serious run for her money. The 2025 draft just got a whole lot more
Bueckers
interesting,
was better
and we're
at
here
18
for
years old, and she is at 23 years old. Olivia Miles is constantly improving, has been the best point guard in the country, and she is getting better and better and better as the years going on. And Paige is just doing Paige things. She's been ultra efficient. She's just going to go into
second of it. Let's be clear, Paige Bueckers was better when she was 18. At 23, Olivia Miles is constantly improving, and this season, she's been the best point guard in the country. She's getting better every game, while Paige is doing what she does, being ultra efficient, but the game has evolved beyond that. The truth is, the game has passed Geno Auriemma by, and his...
That's the worst part about new fans. You know, they have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
Didn't just prove herself, she changed the game. Remember when Geno said her style wouldn't translate to the next level? Well, guess what? She didn't just translate, she's creating a whole new playbook. And here we are, watching the game evolve right before our eyes. There's no denying it, Caitlin Clark is shattering records like a freight train. Forget the buzz, these numbers are enough to leave you in awe. In her rookie year alone, she's
like, I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every
62 records. That's not a typo, 62. She didn't just enter the WNBA, she walked in like, these records? They're mine now. And it's not just about the stats. Clark has that it factor that people can't help but notice. Remember when everyone thought Paige Bueckers was going to be the next big thing? Well, Clark's taken that mantle and runs with it. Her games? They're drawing crowds like a rock concert, with packed arenas and sky-high viewership. It's clear, she's not just playing the game, she's changing the game. Experts are calling it, Clark's style isn't just changing women's basketball, it's revolutionizing the whole sport. Her play resonates with a wider audience, and more fans are flocking to women's basketball than ever before. It's like she's elevating the game to new heights, and we're all witnessing it in real time. Here's where it gets interesting, remember when everyone doubted her? When people said her flashy style wouldn't work in the WNBA? Well, she's proving all of them wrong, one three-pointer at a time. Meanwhile, back in Connecticut, Geno Auriemma's probably rewatching old game tapes, wondering where it all went wrong. While he's stuck in the past, Caitlin Clark is busy living her best life, not just playing basketball, but transforming the sport. And we're lucky enough to witness it firsthand. Clark's got her eyes on even bigger things. She's not just here to play, she's here to dominate. Her expectation? To be one of the best players in the world. Would you expect anything less? More history is on the horizon, and we're all in for the ride. Looking back, Geno Auriemma's decision to pass on Clark? It's shaping up to be one of the biggest mistakes in college basketball history. Talk about a missed opportunity. Clark isn't just good, she's rewriting history. And while Geno keeps making excuses, Clark's out here setting new records every season. So what's next? Who knows, but we'll be here, watching her make more history. Agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.